welcome to the Service Drive Revolution podcast with your hosts, Chris, the Bulldog Collins, and Gary Daniel, the G-Man. Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution, the place for you if you have a service drive, customers, you could put oil in a car and you want to have better service advisors, run a more profitable service department, and have more fun. How you doing, G-Man?
I'm doing well. Shaved my beard, found the fountain of youth, finally fixed my cholesterol.
Yeah. Was it just eating bacon and cheeseburgers like I suggested?
Yep. And drinking lots of red wine.
lots of red wine.
Eggs. I think eggs is the one I was looking for.
Oh, that's funny. That for everybody listening and not watching, that was the very handsome Gary Jr.
That's right. That was my son.
Today we are going to talk about. Oh, wait. Looks like your cholesterol's back.
We're
We're going to talk about service advisors that over-deliver.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how you can recruit service advisors that over-deliver, what the characteristics are of service advisors that over-deliver. And I think we've all had like that one or two advisors that we're like, hey, if we just had more of them, I could not show up to work.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The place would run itself.
Mm-hmm. The overachiever, I call him the highest common denominator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how do you build a team of those? That's what we're going to talk about today.
Perfect.
We did just have our blood test, so here pretty soon we're going to have results to. I think you could hit 300 with your cholesterol if you wanted to. I don't feel like you committed.
I've been working at it. I've been trying really hard.
You've been eating too good. You need to go the other way.
Oh man,
more bacon, more cheese.
I am fascinated to find out what it looks like. Fascinated.
We're gonna see. We did it on the same day, so. For everybody listening, this somebody comes to our office and she takes our blood. I call it the vampire. So she comes really early in the morning because you have to fast before you give your blood test.
Yeah.
Just something that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And so she comes and, she takes mine with like a regular needle. And then for Gary, she's got this like horse syringe because the cholesterol is so thick. She has to have a special needle that literally like is like the size of a dime. I don't know how she gets it in your arm. It's gotta hurt.
Ridiculous. Oh man,
the cream and cheese barely comes out.
I will say that this time when she took my blood, it was coming out awfully slow. I was like,
this time,
come on.
This time,
how long does this take?
Previously, like it just came out really easy.
It just came right out. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Hey, I was almost below 200. It got really, really close.
The key is to you and everybody listening is drink a lot of water. That's what I do.
Man, I'm
take
telling
like
you.
a gallon of water, then they can find the vein. It goes good. If you're dehydrated,
yeah, then
they're stabbing you.
Yeah, your veins pull in a little bit. Yeah,
that's funny.
So there's also another thing that we might be forgetting about. We did talk about my tattoo or me getting a tattoo on the last podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And so
Have you put that up, or are we going to put that up online or
we
something?
can put a picture of it up, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, can you edit a picture of that in, Lucas?
Yes, I can.
Lucas has got his own mic.
I like you having a microphone. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so you got a tattoo.
Yes.
It's like, have you considered like just keep going to like a sleeve?
I want to. Yeah, I want to do a sleeve. In fact, I had a sleeve like picked out, but I kind of chickened out at the last minute.
How do you pick out a sleeve?
I found one online that a guy had done already.
And you were just going to
really
go
cool.
do this?
Yeah, I was just going to hand it to him, then give him my arm.
So there'd be some other dude out there with the same tattoo?
Oh, it's the chances I meet the guy.
Really good. I'll find him.
I gotta be careful what I say.
I'll find him.
You're like, where is this guy?
We'll find the guy on Facebook or something.
That would be funny as hell.
I'll just send out a tweet. I'll be like, hey, looking for this guy.
Oh my god! No, my luck, he'd turn up for sure. Or he's a client.
Do you know that I know the password to our Twitter now? Because I had to reset it, I guess. And so our social media crack smoking team said, check your email. We had to reset the Twitter. And so I know the password now, so
It's awesome.
I might randomly tweet. I don't know what I would tweet.
Throw down some knowledge.
Do people want to know like what I eat, like when I'm eating in a restaurant or something? Is that the thing? You take a picture? Because I see people do that.
I don't know. I bet do you tweet? No tweeting. You're not the tweeters.
He's too young. He's a Snapchatter.
Snapchat kid. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to tweet.
Periscope died, right?
Periscope.
Oh, I heard somebody saying that at a meeting I was at. The Periscope.
Got one of those Tumblr things.
Oh man, we sound like retards. Okay, let's talk about service advisors.
I think just to close out the tweeter conversation, I think you should tweet pearls of wisdom. That's what I think you should tweet.
Like just put pearls of wisdom. Said?
No, your pearls of wisdom. Like every day you'll say something and I'm like, damn, that's good. And I'm
you gotta wake up to get up.
Something like that. Yeah. you gotta sit down and lay down.
Yeah. It's like dog whistles.
Oh, you should do one of those like every other day or something. Do
Nobody cares.
do one of those funny ones.
That's funny.
What was it? You got to buy it to return it.
What did we call those? We had a whole list of those.
God, we're funny.
They were funny. Okay, so you want to talk about service advisors?
Yeah.
That
Talk about service
over-deliver?
advisors.
So the first thing with service advisors that over-deliver, to me, and you tell me what you think, but the note I wrote down is it's attention to detail. Mm-hmm. They have a passion for customers, and they almost feel like if the customer doesn't have a great experience, they feel it personally.
Yeah,
like they're personally connected to the experience.
Yeah,
like they don't see us as like secondary, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like so. A couple things.
It's funny. You just read me a quote and it just made me think of that said, you don't have to own the ocean to sail it, which I think is brilliant. But you just saying that right now, I'm thinking to myself, like guys that over deliver, they're living by that quote. Like they don't own the business. It's not their business. So it's not their ocean, but they're acting as if like taking, caring about their customers, taking ownership and over delivering is they just act as if it's their thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're people pleasers more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So one question I like to ask when I'm interviewing advisors is that kind of ferrets this out a little bit is I'll say, so this is deep into the interview. So this isn't like the first question you ask them when they sit down. You want to ask something really inappropriate when they sit down.
Yeah.
But, into the interview, and there's kind of a style to that, but I'll ask them like, okay, so you have a customer out in the drive waiting for you. You're walking out to the customer in the car. They're standing at the car. Mm-hmm. So from here to there, what are you thinking? Like what's going through your head as you're approaching the customer? You're looking. Mm. And so you'll get one of two types of answers. So the first one, which is the wrong one, believe it or not, or I think, is what am I going to sell them? Mm-hmm. Most of the time when they say that, I feel like they are saying that because they think that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
But that isn't what I want to hear.
Right.
I want to hear, how am I going to connect and make friends? Mm-hmm. That's the key. So that question kind of ferrets that out because they don't know what answer you're expecting, and that gives you a good idea. But that's always a good indicator of somebody who wants to make friends and collect customers.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're all uber focused on sales and generating revenue. I mean, that's what it's all about. But at the end of the day, like you're right, he's got to make a friend first. He's got to earn the right to sell to them and make a friend. So you want him to have that first thought is, what do I know about this customer? What can I use? How do I connect with them, right?
Yeah.
Have I ever seen them before? Are they back again? Oh, I remember that guy. He's a Steelers fan or whatever.
I think in every sales situation, making friends helps you sell more, but especially for a service advisor in the drive, it's a trust sell. Mm-hmm. You're not going to sell them by asking 5 times and badgering them. Mm-hmm. You're not going to most of the time you're not going to sell them by product knowledge either. You're going to sell them by trust and being their friend. So that's the key to that part. So that kind of ferrets them out, or that's what you're looking for. And then also, I think in the interview, the other thing is asking them questions that let you know, like, okay, so when you're done with an RO and you call a customer to come pick up the car, like, what's your next step? And ask an open-ended question, but do they check to see if the car was washed? Like, you want to see if that's what they're thinking, because the advisor that checks to see that the car was washed, that QCs it, they're going the extra step.
I think too, just having an extra step is good. You know, if they're like, well, yeah, you know, I let the porters know the car's out there, I let the customer know or whatever, and it's done. But if they start to say, okay, yeah, this is what I do after that, that's like really important, because I think most of them don't.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of situations, in a lot of little shops, like little independent shops or little shops in a dealership, just checking to make sure the car is staged and the keys are there. Like, customers show up and you can't find the keys.
Yeah.
Like, I know good advisors that I've witnessed many times that just make sure the keys are with the car, like everything is ready to go so the customer isn't going to be delayed. All those tiny little details. And I guess that's really what you're looking for, is you're looking for an attention to detail.
Yeah.
You're looking for them to go that extra step and really look at it.
Exactly. Yeah, what are they thinking about? Like, what is it that they're you know, you always know that there's the issues, the paperwork together and right, printed, done, organized. Is the keys there? Is the car clean? Is it out front? Is it parked in a place where we can get it? You know, do we know where it's at? Because that's another thing. Some of these big lots, like, you got no idea where the car's at. And then, you know, take it, you know, understanding too when your customers are coming so that you can have that conversation with them, taking that time to let them know this is what happened to your car while it was here. Like, there's a whole process that happens after the car's done.
Oh, and you can't take for granted, like, we're saying this like it's super easy, but you can't take for granted how many times when I was an advisor, I called the customer, they came to pick it up, and the car was still apart in the tech stall.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, my God.
That happens.
Yeah, oh, no. I've had that happen to me before. That's crazy.
And the tech got on another car, was like, oh, I didn't know you called them. And you're like, the headliner's out?
Yeah, right.
Like, what? They were here for an oil change. Why is the headliner out?
Yeah.
Like, you know, just the craziest stuff that if you don't check and you're not on it, you're gonna get surprised. So the good ones have that attention to detail.
We had a tech who he was working on a car like that, and he had it torn apart, but he wanted to get paid. So we would close out all the tickets that were closed out on Tuesday. They got paid for on Friday, or they got paid actually on Thursday. And so he wanted to make sure he got paid, so he closed everything out. Well, the advisor saw that, booked a ticket, and called the customer. And then the customer showed up, and he was halfway through the job, wasn't done yet.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, my God.
You got to put your hands on the car before you call.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation.
One thing that we teach in our advisor training is a 2-hour call. And so one question you can ask and try to ferret out is, have you ever called a customer when you didn't need to? Because the idea of the 2-hour call and over delivering is that you're calling them even when they don't need to. Because they've, you know, if you've taken in your car to get serviced your whole life, even at the wee age of 30, you've been disappointed a bunch of times. You've had to call yourself to check status and update. And so if you're the person that just sends them a text or calls them and says, hey, you know, we're going to look at the car pretty soon, or the car's next in line, or whatever it is, you're just touching them. It's like, oh, they're thinking about me.
Yeah. Yeah, it puts them at ease. And I always say this, and I'm sure I've said this before on the podcast, but I think people, when they drop their car off, they're in repair mode. And then the further the way they get from that appointment, the less they're thinking about repairing their car, and the more they're thinking about the rest of their life. You know, they're thinking about picking up my kid, making dinner, you know, getting ready, what I got to do for work. I got a meeting to go to. Whatever it is, you know, they got, you know, the PTA meeting that night, but they're starting to structure out what's going to happen next. And then that thing, when you call them back later, you're just interrupting that flow again, and they're less likely to buy from you. I think you've got to, I think having that, like that 2-hour call is so critical, because it, you know, it resets them. They've left, they've been gone for a couple hours. Now they're reset, and they're primed for you to, you know, get back together with them again and make sure that their car gets out there with what it needs.
Yeah. So that's like, you want to ferret that out. You want to talk to your advisors about that. And have that front and center in their mind. But then I think the other side of that, and it's more than 50% of it, really is the environment that we create for the advisors. If we're asking our service advisors to over deliver, we can't have them writing 30 cars a day.
Yeah.
We can't have them out washing the cars. We have to create a scenario where they're most of the time that they're at work and is spent dealing and helping serving customers. And so how many are they writing? How many customers a day can they handle? And that goes by talent level more than anything. But the rule is it's probably 12. It's less than you think.
Yeah.
And then what other things are we asking them to do? You know, I mean, if you calculate what an increase in hours per row or even conversion is, it'll pay for a porter really quick.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, how many times have we gone into a service department, they've laid off porters, they've laid off, and we're like, hire them back, and you know, we more than pay for them quickly by just increasing the by improving the customer experience, slowing down the advisors, and increasing the dollars per repair order.
Yeah. It always makes me laugh because I think back when you first came in, whatever that was, 20 years ago to my store, and we had just laid off 9 porters, and you hired them all
can
back.
we get them back? It was literally the week before, right?
It was, yeah. It just happened.
Yeah.
And then you were like, can we get them
You guys
back?
are looking at me like, what? I'm like, yeah.
I remember.
What was the plan? Like, who was going to pull cars up or around or wash them? Or it really wasn't a plan. It was a panic.
I don't think there was a plan. Yeah, they just you know, we just moved into that building not that long ago, and they were just struggling with profitability, and so that's the knee-jerk reaction. Cut costs.
I've seen it a few times, too. It's hilarious. You go in, and there'll be these signs everywhere in a dealership, and it's like they all have the same sign. It's like, we no longer wash cars because of the environment, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you look at their CSI, and it's like, oh, my car, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. They're just trying to cut all the way back.
So we were at a dealership. I'm not going to say who, but we were at a dealership, and they had that
It
sign
was
up.
McDonald's Motors.
They had this sign up that said, you know, hey, you know, we're not washing cars because of the water shortage and all that stuff. And they had the sign up. And then meanwhile, you'd walk out front, and in the middle of the day, the sprinklers are on, watering a patch of grass. It's like 1.5 feet wide.
Yeah, I know
and
what
it's
you're talking
hitting the
about.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
It's running down the street, and I'm like going, man, that does not connect. The customers are buying it.
No. Let's overachieve. Let's overperform.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's off the advisor topic, but I just thought it was a funny story.
No, and so there's a couple dealerships like that they play the water shortage or drought or whatever here in California to not wash cars, but really they're trying to save money on porters.
Yeah.
Or car washers.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I think
And every
just
time
going the wrong direction.
we undo that and we wash cars and we do the whole thing, and customers spend more. I mean, they're going to spend more if they trust us and we connect with them and we over deliver.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt. I mean, we see it over and over and over again. It's funny, whenever we go into a service department, there's always a guy out there that's getting it done. Like you said, there's that one guy that if you had a shop full of them, that you could just not go in. Like, you could just leave and go home, because he's such a big overachiever. But when you watch him, like, that's what he does. He's just constantly over delivering. He's constantly, you know, managing his time and making phone calls, and he's just constantly working, making sure that he's connecting with people, and he just does the right thing. He's got it, you know, he's got his own system.
I always think that in my head that there's one of those at every shop.
Yeah.
And so if you steal the best people from from your competition, you end up with a team of those.
Yeah.
Because there is one at every shop. You just
Sure.
got to find out who they are and recruit them.
Yeah.
They're not going to answer an ad. So you got to know who out there is the best. And
We got pretty close there for a while when we were up in Concord. Like, we had a pretty good team. Like, we got to a point where it was pretty solid.
yeah, we have a bunch of clients that have hitters row.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
unbelievable.
man, yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the mod squad, man. They could get it done. They're strong.
Yeah, and that was the same thing, was just taking the best and, around. And of course, when we got there, they were saying, "Oh, you can't hire. Nobody will work here. Reputation's too bad, whatever." And I don't know. Give an advisor a good pay plan, and keep them just spending time. That's the thing, is the better advisors want to spend their time helping customers.
Yeah.
They have a passion to serve customers. They don't want to spend their time doing all the other stuff. So if you clear their plate and create a system where they're focusing on helping customers, then they can do that.
I had somebody tell me too, not that long ago, they said, how you act and respond when you're not in the presence of customers is how they perceive you when you are in the presence of them. So even though you try to put on a mask and, put on your happy face and walk out, they feel that duplicity. And so they were saying the recommendation is to act as if all the time, as if they're watching you. And so, a lot of businesses have a love-hate relationship with their customers. They're like, oh, that guy, whatever. And they get all bent out of shape, and these people coming in all the time bugging us. Meanwhile, you need them. You should be loving your customers because you want them to come spend money there. And so you have to, you catch yourself doing that, getting in that negative mindset and hating on your customer base. You got to flip it, because when you go talk to them, they perceive that on you. You wear it on your face. So it's like you got to always love. Just drop the hate. Just love your customers. Good or bad, right or wrong, who cares? They're coming there, they're going to spend money. And that's what you want, right?
Yeah, totally. That's good. Anything else you want to add to service advisors that over-deliver? Or you want to talk about the Cowboys?
The Cowboys that over-deliver.
And lose in the first round of the playoffs.
I think I wouldn't want to confuse over-deliver with overworked. I think people that, I hate to see an advisor that's, getting there, at the crack of dawn and leaving, in the middle of the night, and just working himself to a pool of nothing, because he can't achieve that way. And so some people, I think, equate, the work or the hours with the result, and I don't think the two really line up, So you got to look for people that, like you were saying, what is he thinking about? What's his system? What's his process? That's an overachiever, a guy that can get results, but he doesn't have to kill himself to do it. And somebody just working their fingers to the bone, but meanwhile their results suck. They're a hard worker, but they're just not getting it done.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. Well, that is our tip for this week. Service advisors that over-deliver. I hope you have a great week and have lots of fun, and we'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution.